Hey, everybody, and welcome to Elden Dogs, your favorite podcast about Elden Rings and guys that get a little drunk and guys that get a little drunk and Elden Rings. Mm-hmm. And Elden Rings. Maybe just the one, but it's been a little while since we converged. Before that, we are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. For more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com. My name is Sir Gideon Ofnir. I am the smartest, coolest guy, and I'm not a good father because the plebeians are not useful to me, so sorry, Nefelli. That's how I'm feeling today.
I'm Gold Mask Dylan Hoff.
Yes. I was thinking we should get you to a new character.
I'm Gold Mask. I stare at things. Everyone thinks I'm holy, but I'm definitely not, baby.
Yeah. You always just stand out there doing the T-pose, too.
Asserting dominance wherever you go.
I'm Solaire. I'm secretly Solaire of Astora.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. And we got Iron Fist Alexander here, still full of, just a jar full of people. Just like,
you had a full meal last episode.
Yep. Doing good.
You had a full meal?
Full meal.
Well, yeah, we just finished up with Radon.
Oh, yeah.
Eons ago.
He's a big boy.
So I'm like,
oh my God, that was last
full.
one.
Last episode was a regular Golden Corral for me. So
there we go. USDA grade D steak.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese with whey product instead of cheese.
Well, if Alexander is anything like me, then when I went to the buffet as a kid, I just got like self-serve ice cream constantly. My mom would be like, you got to go get some real food. I'm like, but I got ice cream.
How are you not fat as fuck?
I was a tiny little boy.
Okay.
And we're going to drink some beer on this episode. Our first one from Miller Brewing. This is a
What the fuck?
This is a Miller High Life. It's known as a champagne of beers. It is union made. Now,
ooh, that's fine.
The date on the bottom of the can says November 7th, 2022, which is tomorrow after we record. So I'm guessing that's the Best Buy date, maybe? I don't know. Because that is definitely...
Who knows if it has the right bouquet, right? It smells
like High Life.
It smells like a bar mat.
Yeah.
And also hints of rag. I do like it.
High Life is probably the beer I've drank most of my life.
It's up there for me.
Yeah, it's got to be in my top 3.
I think I actually won during the pandemic when I was like, I had nothing better to do. I think I drank a shitload of Blatz. And I think Blatz overtook it at some point.
Yeah.
But then I cut back on like my drinking habits and I'm like, well, whatever. Miller tastes better. Let's go with that.
I used to drink 38 ounces of it in college. Because I told you guys about that, right?
Did they used to Gandalf stick you?
Oh, no, I just played Edward 40 Hands a lot.
Yeah.
And Miller High Life was one. It was that or OE. And I was like,
Old English is not good.
I did that one time, and I was like, nah, not for me.
But it's as far as $4 drunks in high school, you can't get much better than that.
Yeah,
there's an episode of Hair the Dogcast where I brought Axehead.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Well, and then you used to have your favorite one, your beer that was discontinued.
Cool Ice.
KUHL.
With an umlaut above the U.
Oh, damn.
So it's Cool Ice.
Cool.
And they discontinued it, and there's still a part of me that has secret desires that if I ever become a millionaire, I could be a millionaire, and I could just be like, where's the recipe?
Yeah.
And then I could make it and keep selling it 2 for $5. Ooh, that'd be pretty good.
It's like part of you got discontinued when it got discontinued.
A part of me was destroyed.
Yeah. You always have this far off look. There it is.
I'm doing it now.
He's doing it now. Mm-hmm. We usually just kind of dive in with our discussion, but there's actually a fair amount of little things surrounding Elden Ring to discuss. We're actually going to talk about a patch. We generally don't do that, but not long ago they did patch 1.07, and it's the biggest patch they've released up to this point.
Am I going to like the game better?
I mean, I know you do like the game.
I do like the game. Am I going to like it better?
Well, the biggest thing it added was separate damage scaling for PvP. In the eternal quest to try and balance weapons and incantations and spells, they try and make it so it would work for both like campaign for single player as well as PvP, but the weapons are just used differently. Mm-hmm. And so
they're trying to equalize it.
They finally made it so where the weapons can scale differently depending on if you're fighting against other people versus just playing the story mode.
Smart.
Yeah, it's something that they've been asking, I guess, in Souls games for a long time. So this is a good thing for those folks. I'm not a multiplayer Souls person. Maybe someday.
I doubt it.
There has been, also there's some new hairstyles. New Colosseum map files, assets, and textures were added into the Colosseums in the game that you currently can't use. So paving the way for some sort of DLC, possibly. And also, there was allegedly like some data mining into the game that after the patch revealed that there is, for the DLC, potential for 30 new bosses. There's room to have like 30 new boss file characters. And like a brand new location. They didn't have like answers to anything, but they're like, there's room. They added this as room for something to come.
Can you say Margit and Margot 30 different ways?
Give George R. R. Martin a chance. He will.
But it's also like
Murgot.
But I doubt he had so much influence on this game. As much as we're thinking, I just really doubt it.
No, he recently had an interview discussing House of the Dragon, and Colbert asked him about Elden Ring, and he said. Essentially what they asked him to do was write all of the history before. So, I mean, he came up with the names and a lot of the factions and the way that, like, the world was created. I'm sure, like, he said Praetor Rykard was eaten by a god devouring snake. And after that, it was just, From Software doing their thing.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, so that happened. The Elden Ring Collector's Edition 8 LP box set was released recently. I have it here. There was a huge debacle online. Bandai Namco canceled like a shitload of people's orders unannounced.
Okay.
And most of those people that got canceled had used like 10% off code on that website.
Uh-oh.
So it looked like they might have oversold, and they didn't want to give the people the discount that properly used their discount. Besides that, a number of people that received their box sets received multiple versions of the same disc and were missing some of their records. So that's not good.
Did they go through somebody to distribute it, or did they go through like somebody who does vinyl records? Because a lot of the bands that I follow, like Ghost, they go through, I think, a European company, and they have a shit ton of issues with the way that the vinyl is rolled out.
Yeah. Actually, like, I got one of the bad ones.
Really?
Yeah, with Prequel.
Really?
When I got Prequel, it was not in good condition. I mean, that is a nice clear vinyl.
They're all different colors. They all look great. Like, it is a really good set for those that received it and received the right ones.
It reminds me when I got One Piece Volume 59, and one of the later chapters was in the middle of the earlier chapters.
That's weird.
You don't
think you'd want that.
I don't. I didn't. It was at a really pivotal point in the story too. I'm like, well, I have to rebuy this at some point. But for right now, it's on my shelf. What am I going to do?
What are you going to do? Coming to Kickstarter, November 22nd, the Elden Ring board game will be launching a campaign, which will be great. I already know I'm getting the Bloodborne board game for Christmas because Carly's not good at keeping secrets.
I almost bought that for you for your wedding.
Good thing you didn't.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So that's exciting. I'm excited for the Elden Ring board game. I will definitely be getting it. Hopefully getting, like, the day it launches on the 22nd, I'm going to try and get in and get, like, the early bird deal because it'll be cheaper. And when you're hearing this, the first official strategy guidebook will be released on November 17th. So that'll probably be in about a week.
It's so wild that they never had one to begin with.
Well, games don't really have strategy guides these days.
And you mentioned to me the other day that you think maybe they were waiting because of DLC.
Potentially. So there's going to be 2 guidebooks, and they're broken down into, like, one's about, enemies or weapons, and the other one is covering something else. I don't know how they're bifurcated, but I have them pre-ordered. I'm excited to finally get it because it was supposed to originally be released like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and I'm excited to see it. I'm not sure if it'll reveal anything otherwise. If it's just big artwork of all the stuff in the game, I'm all about that.
It's A-okay.
Yeah, and so that'll be coming. Wait, here it is. The first volume contains a complete record of the lands between Overworld, Dungeons, and Underworld. Every inch is carefully mapped and its secrets laid bare. All of the game's areas and NPCs are covered, and over 100 detailed area maps are included in a beautifully designed hardcover volume. So, yeah, I don't know. That's coming. If you're listening to this, you probably might have pre-ordered it or you're aware of it. But if you're not, that sounds cool too. So, yeah. We haven't discussed Elden Ring in a while.
Oh my God, I have not touched it.
I fell back in. I'm in the deep end now.
Yes.
I've been playing it a lot. I put in like 9 hours in the last 3 days.
This patch seems interesting. I might go back, but I still have strong memories of this game. I put in over 200 hours. So in different playthroughs and different style choices and doing things different, trying to amp up my like early time, immediately getting to the round table hold, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I fell off. I've been busy with, frankly, Bayonetta 3. So
Your game of the year.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's not a question about it. It's done. It's over. Like, I know I say this a lot and it gets annoying to people, I think. But I know for a fact, like, until I played it and a lot of the controversy or the people had like story problems, I'm like, okay, I get it. But also, do I get to like turn into a demon and run around as like a bird lady or a train or a clock tower marionette?
This sounds like the plot of Kingdom Hearts to me.
Could also be a ghost song.
The plot is really bad. But it's Bayonetta. It's all about her like being sassy whenever someone does something bad to her. She's like, "Oh, please, honey." And
Dylan's like, yes, ma'am.
Does she have like pistols in her stilettos? Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
It depends on what weapon you're using.
I saw that in Smash Bros. Last night, and I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. But you have fallen back in.
Yes.
You're still stuck, though, at the mountaintops.
Yeah. Oh, I respect my old character and tried to jump back in. And I'm just
the fire giant.
It's just like my build was weird, and I was
Sure.
playing such a strange way. Like I was cheesing the game, and this is pre-patches and stuff too. So who knows what happened to my character while he lay dormant for so long?
Yeah.
And I just couldn't figure it out.
Really?
Like I was getting killed by regular enemies. It just wasn't very fun. So I started a new character, and I've been like just cruising through the game.
Well, you know that those first parts so well at this point that it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm already into the academy. I'm like level 40.
Yeah, you're
And
cruising.
Just cruising.
Absolutely.
And I've been using a guide, which is expediting things. I just defeat all the dungeons in the area, and then I move to the boss, and then I move on.
It feels good doing it that way.
Yeah.
I might do that.
On my subsequent playthroughs, I know I'm just going to skip 80% of Liurnia. I know I want to go get these spells for my sorceress, and otherwise I'm just kind of really doing it as a role-playing game. I'm trying to just be in the character's mind frame. One of mine's like a dumb religious dude. One's this badass lesbian witch. And then the other is just a scumbag.
I'm playing a character named Amond One Eye.
I wonder what that's in reference to.
Yeah, it's totally not obvious at all. But I'm playing the character like...
Is your child named Khaleesi?
Don't have a kid yet, but we'll see. But I'm trying to play the character the same way, like role-playing. Like, he wants to be Elden Lord, and he's going to do whatever the fuck needs to be done to do it. Anybody in his way is going to get taken out. And
Now hold on. The way I play these games, and I'm like, it's me. I'm in the world now.
that's my first playthrough.
Oh, okay.
This is playthrough number 2.
It's interesting. It's interesting when you
Tyler is here.
interacting with NPCs from like a certain character's mind frame. Just knowing that I'm like a big dumb brute who loves the church. Like there's the way he's like, oh, I don't want no part of your shit. And like even the Turtle Pope says like it's okay to practice sorcery. I'm like
I don't think so.
I don't think so, and I
You're a
might
little
kill
too
you.
lenient.
Yeah. Plus you're talking, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Do all
He's a
the-
big talking turtle.
Do all the turtles talk? We don't know.
Well, they don't. Only if they're wearing a Pope hat.
That's the gift of speech.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I believe so. If a turtle lives long enough, it eventually learns how to talk. It's like cats.
Well,
All cats can talk. Not all cats choose to talk.
and none of them listen.
No.
I feel like that'd be like a Toy Story thing. Like Brad comes home and Martin and Pickles are just like chit-chatting in the living room, and then see him like, ow.
There's a really funny Ryan Reynolds movie where we accidentally watched it, and his cat and Dog start talking and tell him to like murder women that come to visit him, and it becomes just like he's hiding bodies, and is like, Dog's like, it's okay there, bud. It's gonna be fine. The cat's like, you are a murderer.
What?
It's really funny. It's fucking weird. Early Ryan Reynolds.
All right.
Yeah, worth watching. But today we are gonna go underground for the first time, deep underground. We're gonna go check out the river wells, the underground rivers. 2 great rivers flow beneath the lands between the Siofra and the Ainsel. This vast region is said to be the grave of civilizations that flourished before the Erd tree.
And they're full of ants and spiders.
And a few lobsters and claymen and dancing bull spirits.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I like the way they get down, though.
And that creepy thing that hangs from the ceiling and shoots stuff at you that looks like a centipede.
Yep. I forget what it's called. The falling star or something. I think it's in the notes. But I imagine...
like pupa form of like those...
The natural born, the Astel.
Oh, the natural born, yeah. Yeah.
I imagine the first river we went to is the Siofra River well, the one that you go
in the deep wood.
in the mist woods.
Mistwood, yeah.
Yeah. What was your guys' experience the first time you went down that elevator?
That elevator was astonishing. I thought the game was glitching out on me at first because it was making me wait so long.
Like it was a Mass Effect elevator going on for like 5 minutes.
I was sitting there and it just suddenly like opened up and I'm like, wait, this is supposed to be under the ground. Why does it look like above the ground? And I'm just like, and then I quickly hit some of the enemies and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here yet, am I? I didn't have anything to combat them. And I was just picking up items and going like my typical first run of a lot of these games. It's like, hee hee.
Yep.
And I just scurry around.
You'll never catch me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the D-Man.
I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
I went in the elevator because I was on my way to that fort. I was like, I'm going to go do this thing. And then I was like, I saw the building, was like, let me check it out. I'm in the area, when in Rome. Hit the elevator. The elevator takes longer than loading on the PlayStation 5. I found that out.
Oh, yeah.
So I can comfortably go get a beer on that elevator ride. Can't do so much in the loading screen. Got into the main open area and then looked around and went, nah, I'm not ready for this. And then turned around, got back on the elevator and went straight back up and came back 2 days later.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's like driving all the way to the amusement park and you say, I'm not ready for that. And you just drive home.
I don't want no part of that.
Yeah.
You drove all the way to Disney World?
Oh, that was a Tiny Toons plot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Deep cut there. Yeah, my first time, I don't know, you just see this kind of unassuming little circular building in the Mistwoods and you just jump on the elevator and yeah, I'm down to explore. It's stunning how far down you go. It's stunning when you actually get to see the night sky up above. You don't get a good look at it right away. You get like a little peeks through the windows, but then you wind up down in this little area that's like the ruins of a church. And
now, is it really the bottom of the land that you're looking at, or is it like you're seeing like kind of an astral projection of like another realm?
Well, what the night sky is the Nox, which is the civilization that primarily made a lot of those buildings. They were at odds with the Erd tree.
Okay.
And the Golden Order just punished them and made them go underground. Now, it's a little bit of speculation as to what they did to make this happen, but the Nox worship the stars. The Nox worship the night sky. And, they're all about science and sorcery. Like they're a cool civilization.
Right.
And essentially the church is like, no, we don't support your belief system and you're going to be pushed underground. So that's like saying Dylan's not allowed to have cool ice. Like that's why you have cool ice just taped to all of your ceilings at home. So you can just like imagine you can still see it.
Yeah, it's like the Bud Manor, that guy who made his entire house out of Bud Light cans.
Did he really?
I think he decorated everything Bud Light.
That sounds horrible.
I've seen pictures of people who take the cardboard boxes and then basically tinfoil somebody's room with it. Like everything's covered in a Bud Light can or box.
That's fun.
It's very blue.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's very impressive when you have potential partners over. When they see that, like, wow, this guy likes Bud Light.
Well, that's like the glass slipper with Cinderella. You just got to find the right one by, showing them the room.
Yeah, and then she bring a Bud Light bra, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, this is going down.
Yeah, proposes on the spot.
Yeah. Would you drink a Bud Light with me?
Yeah.
Shotgun.
Yeah. So the stars, though, are they're not a real star field. They don't move, which is one thing that is specific. I don't know if they're not lights hanging up there, but they're like
Bits of glintstone.
it's glintstone, it's magic, it's something that just gives them the feeling of a night sky, and it's stunning. I mean, it's stunning when you get down there, and there's so many points in Elden Ring where you come around a corner and your breath is taken away a little bit at the scale, and then you also realize you actually can go explore it all, and that is an intense feeling. It can be daunting, it can be scary, it's exciting, but
When I was in high school and Skyrim was coming out, they would say, like, they would point at all these mountains in the map and they'd be like, if you see that place out there, you can go visit it. And I remember that being such a mind-blowing concept for me in an open world game. Like, if I see somewhere I can go there, like there's no boundaries, like I can do that.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I took that for granted for a long time. And then a game like Elden Ring comes along and it kind of reignites that same feeling, like, oh shit, this is huge and I can go there.
and you're excited, and then a crab jumps out of the ground and kills you.
And what the fuck are the lobsters shooting?
They have sniper rifles.
Sniper lobsters, but not something that should exist. That was bad.
I
Well,
love.
they're shooting high pressurized water at you, like pistol shrimp.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think Miyazaki and From Software also just know what a lot of people's like secret fears are. A lot of people have like an irrational fear of like crustaceans, like lobsters, and
They're kind of
bugs.
scary and human.
yeah,
water bugs.
Yeah.
and they're just like the carapace, like they just have the shell on them. I don't know. I don't have a fear of them, but I can see how that would scare the shit out of people. Or giant ants, like that is a weird, off-putting thing.
So much so that in like the game Grounded, it's this like survival game kind of aimed at kids. They allow you to turn spiders into just orbs. Like there's a sliding scale so you can make them less like spiders and more like orbs.
That's funny. Yeah.
yeah.
Resident Evil, where you can just turn everything into stuffed animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, what a cute baby! And you
That's
push
actually-
and slide it away. Oh my god!
That's actually kind of scarier.
Yeah, yeah, little Five Nights at Freddy's. But yeah, Nox actually means light in Latin. The Nox. But when we're down in this area, we're gonna get glimpses up there at Nokron and deep off in the distance, Mogwin Palace, which I don't think you've been to.
I have.
Yep. And
I beaten up Mogwin Palace.
that he ain't having sex with that baby no more.
Not
That's
no
what I
more.
said.
All right. Cool. I'm intrigued now. That's weird.
And the bloody albinarics are weird. Those red boys.
I hate him.
Don't like them.
That is the worst dungeon in the entire game.
But we are not going to actually be meeting any of the Nokron or the Nox. We're not meeting them in this episode because they're up there. And Gilbert Grape, we want to go up there. We can't go up there. Not yet. Not from this location.
I can't believe I can't. Listen, I want to do the Leonardo DiCaprio impression.
I want to go up there.
I want to go up there, Gilbert.
I want to go up there, Nokron.
Make a note of that, I guess.
You were doing
That was actually a decent impression of him.
you were doing impersonation.
I made
of an
myself
actor.
blush doing that.
The first
I was like, I know I'm going to do the voice.
the first enemies you run into down here in this like church remains is the Claymen. And these are the warped remains of priests who searched for revelation in search of the ancient dynasty. So apart from the Nox who are up there is a number of civilizations that have been down here. And the ancient dynasty being referred to here is not the Nox. This is something even further back. And then we'll run into like the ancestral followers, and they're a separate sort of thing down here. So there's a lot of factions kind of roaming around. So
The implication is that this is kind of like a Norse mythology where there are constant cataclysms that build on top of each other.
yeah, for some reason, the Claymans, the people that they're searching for, they're gone. I think that they might be the Alabaster Lords that they were kind of worshiping. That was another group of gravity magic people.
They do have those
denizens.
gravity bubble magics.
Yeah, the Claymen are odd. They have insanely high poise. They move slow as dirt. Their harpoons can hurt you, but they have 2 Clayman sorceries and they're bubbles. They just shoot bubbles at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
Very
fun.
easy to outrun.
If you're stupid, though, they hurt quite a bit.
Yeah.
And they're not really worth farming. So
Not a lot of runes.
And it also takes a lot to kill them.
Yeah, and they're pretty good against physical damage, so you got to use like fire or magic, and then you just end up
Lightning,
wasting your FP. Mm-hmm. And the first time I played the game, I tried to kill everything. Like if there was an enemy, I went out of my way to try and kill it. So this was really frustrating. And then I was like, man, you know what? This sucks. And then I was going to leave, and then I realized you can ride torrent down there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand the scope of where I was at yet.
It's always weird when you realize you can ride torrent in like what feels like a confined, like different area.
Where other games would take that ability away from you, the moment you enter a building or something, they're like, well, it's not technically a building. I guess you can ride torrent here.
Here's a torrent jumping puzzle.
Yep.
So I just went like full horse parkour and just ran around them like you did and grabbed all the stuff and then just kept running.
Got onto the top of that silly little statue.
Yeah.
Got that. All the centipedes, the golden centipedes.
Yeah, golden centipedes. This is one of probably the first place you're going to run into them, and they're just odd. The description says kept as a fetish by Golden Order fundamentalists. They value scholarship and prayer almost equally, so high intelligence and faith are used for their incantations. Especially the hunters of those who live in death seek out golden centipedes, but they can be used to make rejuvenating bolus, which alleviates death blight buildup, which you will need later. Death blight is not seen often, but it is the worst.
Yes.
It is the worst. And you can also use these to make Sacred Order pots. But yeah, the golden centipede, this for some
I thought I
reason
could sell them. That's the only reason I was collecting so much.
well, they're used against those that live in death. So they're used to fight like immortal death beings and stuff. It's just weird because the
Sure.
Bloodborne had a little bit of centipede stuff going on too, and I don't remember that. I have to go listen to our own Bloodborne episode on that.
I don't recall. They're all. I feel like a grandpa whose shit is all just blending together now. Like I'm just like, is that Sekiro? No, that's Madama Butterfly. Oh no, and then a part of me is just like, oh shit, that's from the first Dark Souls, and I'm like, oh.
I ordered today a Miyazaki game that you have never played. Durasane. He directed a virtual reality game for the PSVR.
Oh shit.
Where you play as a fairy and you have to go explore a house and they don't know you're there.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'm definitely playing it with you.
The fact that he directed it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
No, I'm definitely playing that with you.
Also, crafting items down here, you find budding horns. This was an interesting one as well. It's found by hunting herbivorous beasts. These horns begin to sprout on beasts that typically don't have horns. It's perhaps a vestige of the primordial crucible. So the primordial crucible is kind of like the what is it? The primordial ooze, like the melting pot. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what was the Erd tree before. The crucible was just kind of like where everything came from. And
Just a pool of pure evolution.
yeah, I forget the name of that. The evolution ooze.
What do you mean? It is called the primordial soup.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like that. But some things are just sprouting horns down here. And I think that's where the ancestral followers,
Got their horns?
where they got their horns and what they worship. Because it mentions that they're always out there looking for new horns.
They also look like a pre-evolved man in a lot of your interactions with them. Like,
Yeah.
people would constantly be like, oh, you're fighting minotaurs. I'm like, no, they're not quite minotaurs. They will charge you with their horns, but they're something completely different. I don't know how to describe it. They kind of like, it's like Neanderthals with horns.
Yeah. I don't know why I was so afraid of them the first time I came down here.
Because they're like ghostly, and ghosts in most of these games, especially Miyazaki games, are really hard to hit, and you have to have like a special tool to do it usually.
Plus, they're big. Like, comparatively.
They're huge.
They're
Yeah.
one of the bigger enemies you'll find at the beginning of the game outside of those fucking rune bears.
They can lay the smack down.
Well,
Yeah.
anytime you see a new enemy, my first thought is I'm terrified and run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like and then you just got done with the Clayman shooting bubbles. I'm like, I don't know what that was about. And then on the way up there, you also run into a big crab where you just go and like try and pick up a little glowy item. And I hate those traps.
That crab scared the shit out of me. Not as scared as when out of nowhere, just like picking up some like some berries or some shit. I was a mushroom, I think I saw, went to pick it up, and then just get blasted by a giant arrow out of nowhere.
Oh, the arrows in that forested area.
Oh my God.
They messed me up hard.
And
Until you realize you have to kind of like maneuver behind things.
Well,
and then dodge and bob and weave on torrent.
we were just doing Rick and Starks from Game of Thrones. We were just running straight lines.
Yeah.
And because going back down there, I'm like, this is fucking easy.
Yeah.
But back then I thought this is impossible. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get through all of this.
Obviously the end game.
Clearly, I'm in the end game now, as I thought to myself for the 30th time. Yeah, so you get up and then you get to like the main area. You have to take one more lift up from that little church area, and then you're in the main big underground area. You see Nokron up above. You see Mogwin Palace, and then you start running into ancestral followers. These are the Horn folk. They eschew letters and metalworking. They keep their distance from the Erd Tree. They don't really trust it. And it says they're awaiting new buds. And I don't think it's like going to a Grateful Dead show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, you guys got any buds?
Never mind.
They are certain to, but these buds are certain to sprout from their very flesh and indeed their souls. There is.
What are these buds?
The horns, like the buds that sprout? That's what they call them, the budding horns.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're just like waiting around, and I like their spectral look. I like that they're often just like standing and stomping, like doing their little worshiping that's going on.
I like the ones that sing and dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. They seem like cool people.
They're all Disney princesses with all the animals of the forest just like following them and walking around
Just
them.
like deer hanging out.
Yeah,
They're very tuned to nature.
Yep. And then you attack them and all the deer just turn into like armadillos and roll away. They're like, fuck, we're gone.
What's cool about their weaponry? I used the horned bow for a while in one of my playthroughs.
Very good.
Is that
The
red
horned. It's the one you find underneath the bridge up
Yeah.
into the like the first ancestral spirit boss fight.
Yep.
You go down there and you get it, and it scales with intelligence. And so if you have a Dex intelligence build, which I did at the time, I was
what
like,
I'm doing now.
Oh yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The horned bow.
Yeah, the horned bow.
It increases the strength of all magical arrows too when you use it, which is just great.
And you can find one of the armorer's cookbooks down there, can't you? That tells you how to craft magical arrows, or is that the other?
I believe so.
Well,
I can't say for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't have that written down here, but you can find some of the dwelling arrows around there as well, which is very strong magical arrows. I like the ancestral followers design overall. Fuck their arrows, but I think they're a cool little faction down here. And I think that they were probably worshiping the ancestral spirit.
Had to be.
Which we're going to hopefully get to. The Elden Ring doesn't have the best puzzles.
No.
If you call them puzzles, find 8 things and light them. Or go to a city, find 3 things and light them.
So this is the problem with most like open world games, is that there isn't like a specific. You have to cue people in onto these various like things, and they have to be able to pick up these hints on their own. I see 6 vegetables where you can light fires. Oh, I can't light the fires there. Well, oh look, there are all these ones scattered around. Well.
yeah, and I just lit all the fires last night, and one thing that I didn't really pay attention to.
Have you not before?
No, I have, but
okay.
I'm replaying, and since I was like at a good level, I was like, oh, I might as well just run through this area real quick since we're going to be talking about it. But
I mean, you get an ancestral spirit for that boss fight.
Yep,
Which is a good early one.
Yeah, the last one I did last night.
I try to get to the mimic tier as quick as possible.
I didn't pay attention to like how the environment was set up, and how like if you see something you should probably go check it out. Like you see the castle right when you come out of the main tutorial, you should go there. When you beat Godric and you come out of the side of the castle, you see the academy, you should go there.
Some visual cues happening.
Yes. And once I beat Godric the other day and came out of the castle on the side and got that view of the academy, I'm like, oh shit, this game really telegraphs, like, see that shit in the distance?
Yeah.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
So when I got down into the well and I saw the first brazier, I mean, eventually on my first playthrough, I just started lighting them and eventually something happened. But conveniently to the right is the stairs. And as soon as you light that first one, the fire goes up. And I didn't see that the first time.
No,
this time I was like, man, if I would have saw that, I could have cruised through here. But I didn't light them all.
It's by their own cryptic nature that sometimes they actually kind of shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Which is, it's cool because I like it on a theoretical level, but I've been in video games so many times where I'm just like bashing my head up against a wall. And I'm like, I don't understand it. And it's like, oh, you should have been looking left. You should have just looked left.
It wasn't like you were profoundly missing the point of the puzzle. You just didn't happen to look.
Yeah, that's it. And so it's like, okay, yeah, I still respect it because it's still like a decent idea for what this is. But
encourages exploration, which is fine.
Yeah.
I do like though that the braziers light up as you do it, and the first one kind of telegraphs that, but also you had mentioned like right when you come out of the tutorial area. Also interesting to note, every time you come out there, you can also see the giant at the mountaintop of the giants. The altar.
It's like a brazier.
Yeah, you can see the brazier where you need to go to do some stuff. You can see
pretty far out the draw distance, especially like
you can always kind of see it up there if you're looking up because you haven't gotten to it yet. But you're trying to get to a certain
behind the tree, right?
Yep, just to the right of it.
Yep.
And yeah, it's always great to just look out and you can see quite far. Yeah, we have another beer we're going to be drinking. This is from Lakefront Brewing out of Milwaukee here. This is from the My Turn series, number 44. This is Rob. Lakefront, for everyone that works there long enough, eventually if you work there long enough, it'll be your turn to choose a beer style, and they'll make whatever style you want. So this was Rob's turn. He made a wedding ale. I bought this because we were getting married. This is a Berliner style Weiss that's easy drinking, pale in color, and refreshingly tart.
That's cool.
Also, I know you have to work there for a long time to get to your turn because there's a lot of staff at Lakefront.
What makes it a wedding ale?
Just the fact that they called it that. Otherwise, it's a Berliner Weiss. I wouldn't say it's a wedding ale, you know?
I mean, okay.
That's solid.
A little fruity. Nice finish to it. I like it.
It's almost to the point of being a sour.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, it's tart. I like it quite a bit. I like the mouthfeel.
Yeah. It's light. It's almost similar to a Miller Lite in a weird way.
Yeah. So you're going to go down around this area and try and just light up 8 things. I think that first time I did this on accident just because I was exploring everything.
Yeah, when you stumble upon the deer carcass, when you climb up a bunch of stairs, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do with this deer carcass?
It's like, did someone beat this boss before I got here?
And there was a little like note from somebody that said try fire. So I just threw a bunch of cracked pots at it and was like, why it no work?
Yeah, that's good thinking.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, if it said try finger butthole, would you be fingering your butthole at that point?
You got to walk around the back
thing
end of that bad boy.
The thing you got to know about Tyler is that he doesn't understand metaphor.
So I put my finger in my butthole.
Again, it no work.
It no work.
It's no work.
I put a cracked pot up my ass. Didn't work.
The area down here, I mean, it's cool. There's ancestral followers. You're going to see some of those land octopi. And you'll find a nomadic merchant if you jump down from this area. He's a little hidden.
You don't have to jump down to see him.
You have to
go around.
You do have to go up this area and jump down to get to where he's at. And then
why was I able to actually just go to him right away?
Well, because you don't. I mean,
I just misremembering.
It's not super hidden, but you do have to go like a certain path to get to him.
Sure.
And
yeah, because below him are the plants, right?
Yep, those little Miranda blooms.
Yeah.
This was the first time since we started doing Elden Dogs that I heard a merchant just playing our theme song coming up to him because we grabbed it. It's a merchant song that plays at the beginning of these episodes. And it was my first time hearing it in the game. I was like, hey, this guy likes Elden Dogs.
Yeah, he's a fan.
Big fan. And then he makes this comment like, don't get a lot of customers around here. It's like, you're hidden underground, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bad businessman. Most of these guys are.
It's like opening a democracy store in North Dakota. What are you hoping to get here? Know your clients, man. He will sell you soap, which is cool. I do like soap.
So I've never bought it. Does it just clean you?
If it takes off buildup of scarlet rot and poison, like it.
Oh, all right.
Soap does have a good purpose in this game.
I thought it was just when my clothes get all bloody from fighting, I can be like rub-a-dub-dub.
Does it do that?
I don't know. Maybe.
That'd be cool because I notice after a while your armor starts to look shittier.
Yeah.
Or after like a really bloody area, when you're just coated in blood, I'm like, it looks cooler. I feel like, yeah.
I mean, maybe.
It depends on. It's like the end of a horror movie when they find the bride and she's covered in blood, smoking a cigarette. Like that's the cool thing.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Damn, that's a good movie.
Hide and Seek is very good, despite the stupid name and questionable premise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also sells larval tier.
Yep. You'll get a lot of larval tiers up above when you actually get to the cities of the Nox, but this is where you'll get the materials to respec your character, because that's what those scientists were up to. Like, how do we clone things? How do we make new things? Yeah. The Albinarics were created by the Nox. Little frog folks. And
those are creepy.
You'll find a clarifying horn charm down here as well, said to be a budding horn. The ancestral followers believe that the horns of a long-lived beast continue to bud like antlers over and over again until the beast one day becomes an ancestral spirit. That's leading to the boss we're going to. There's a spring jump down here. You can do a torrent that I missed the first time, and you can actually run into Blythe down here. I've never had the fortune. You've always, because you have to be running into like a specific kind of order of events.
I knew what the order might have been the first few times, but I was following that quest line very early because I wanted to find. Do you know how much time I spent in the Mistwood snapping?
Well, yeah, it says just go there and snap. Where you hear the wolves howl, and I was in another wooded area, and there were wolves howling, and it was just enemies.
Yeah.
And I'm out there just snapping, getting beaten to shit, and nothing was happening.
I got it on my first try, the first time I tried to do it on this playthrough, and I didn't run into Blythe until I got to Larny, or to what's her face, way down the road.
Ronnie's place?
Yeah, I almost said Larny.
Ronnie.
Wrong game.
You were watching Hades last night. Blythe is pulling a Gilbert grape. He is trying to get to Nokron, which is where Ronnie wants him to go, because they have a weapon that can kill the fingers, which has the power to kill gods. And Blythe is just down here just looking up, just like, I got nothing. And because he's trying to get up to Nokron, there's no way to get there yet until after we defeat Radon. So yeah, he says, I can see bloody Nokron right above me, but I'm absolutely stumped. Perhaps it's time to ask Celovis. Only NPC you really find down here, though. I mean, other than the merchant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a confused dog. He means well, but he's not. He's just looking there.
I mean, his logic is sound. He's like, I can see it.
Yep.
Now what?
He went as close as he could, and I did the exact same thing. My first time coming down here, I looked off in the distance, and there was like a fire temple or something, and it's like, I want to fucking go over there, and you can't. And then there's also way up, you can just see like a whole bunch of like buildings and city up there, and you're able to get up a little bit, but despite my jumping, can't get any closer. So I was pulling a Gilbert grape as well.
They do the same thing in the other river, because that has that dead end, and you're just looking around like, I know there's more to this place. How the fuck do I get over there?
And they're really good at making you desperately want it. So when you do get it, you're like, I did it. And that's the same with the village of the Albinorics up above in southwest Liurnia. You see that area up there on the map, and you're like, how the fuck do I get up there?
And the fucking map, when you're underneath it,
Doesn't help.
it represents you as on top of it. And it's like the landmarks make no sense. So I thought the game was actively messing with me. Like, must be like a curse, or the map's wrong or something. Like,
Yeah.
this area is uncharted, or it's changed in some way, and I have to figure out how it's changed or when it changed.
Yeah. But we're not getting up there. We are going to take a quick break to hear from some of the other amazing shows from the HyperX Podcast Network. And we're going to be right back to talk about Dragonkin followers.
The Hardcore Gaming 101 podcast is on a mission to rank the top games of all time. I like the idea that when Bruce Wayne gets angry, he switches to the Batman voice.
Why do you have such a problem making Boomerang shaped like a bat? You mean like Batman? Not like Batman, just make it for me! Bruce Wayne, I'm canny even with this guy.
It's a Herculean task, and I'd be lying if I said it hasn't taken a toll on our cognitive faculties.
Most people would be happy to have a job during a global pandemic. Dennis!
Hardcore Gaming 101, twice a week, every week, right here on the HyperX Podcast Network.
The award-winning Go Nintendo podcast is the best place to get the latest news on the world of Nintendo. We cover the biggest stories, share impressions of the latest games, and answer your burning questions. There's also some general pop culture talk, game music trivia, a heaping helping of silliness, and did I mention our robot companion?
I'm the star of the show.
Catch new episodes of the Go Nintendo podcast every Saturday on the HyperX Podcast Network.
If you're a shrewd shopper, it's about to be your favorite time of the year. HyperX will be running massive sales for the holiday season. Get up to 50% off some of our most popular products, like the Ultra Comfy Cloud 2 headset, the tough, responsive Alloy Origins mechanical keyboard, and the fan-favorite Quadcast USB microphone. Sales will be going on at all major e-tailers, but be sure to head to HyperX.com and sign up for the newsletter to get the scoop on the biggest deals. Happy holidays from HyperX.
So we got a new beer here. I picked this up at Redacted liquor store, so we don't know where Brad lives. And
Bayview.
Bayview. It's around Bayview. It's is this
I
true,
live in the
though?
Round Table Hold, you dick.
Whatever. This is from Belching Beaver Brewery. It's called peanut butter flavored milk stout.
Where I come from, those are called queefs.
Are they peanut flavored for you? Yeah, I was actually really intrigued by this because I've been looking for like a heavier beer, a bit more like fall related. And this one stood out to me right away. Tyler, you actually commented on the artwork on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, as soon as Brad handed me the can, I said I would buy this. Just if I saw it on the shelf, this is a very appealing can.
It's like a beaver raging in a big pile of peanuts.
That's a squirrel.
A squirrel.
It has to be a squirrel. Beavers don't eat peanuts.
It's a belching beaver. And
okay, you're right. You're technically right. It's just, what's the beaver doing eating peanuts? They eat wood.
I think it's just because it's a peanut butter beer.
I think, frankly, they eat
I think that
all
they,
plant life.
canonically, they might have made a few leaps for the artwork for this.
They took a few liberties.
God, I feel like a child because I'm also wondering whether or not beavers actually eat wood or if they just are really good craftsmen.
I don't think they eat it.
As the resident beaver expert, because I'm from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, I can tell you that I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
Because I've only seen one beaver in my entire life, and that was in Madison, Wisconsin.
I could only imagine the reason a beaver would ingest wood is to create a blockage if they were hibernating. Otherwise, I think they just have a strong desire to stop running water. They fucking hate it.
Yeah, they shape wood with their big fucking teeth, and then they use their tails to pat shit into place.
Now, I'm going to read the back of this because I find this to be the most interesting because they expect you to know a cast of characters that you've never even heard of before.
Okay.
Troy came up with the idea of combining the flavor of peanut butter with our milk stout, and he nailed it. Don't let the dark color fool
And
you.
he nailed it. Way to pat yourself on the back just describing your beer. Tyler's a podcaster, and he's awesome.
Don't let the dark color fool you. This beer is delightfully easy to drink with cascading aromas of roasted peanuts, dark chocolate, and coffee. Good times to you, my friend, and welcome to the Beaver family. Cheers, Tom.
I don't need to know who Troy is, and I don't need to know who you are, Tom, but thank you for telling me about the beer.
It's like a quote. It's like, all right.
Brad made a queef joke, and it was awesome.
This does sound like an Elden Ring item description.
It
Like,
smells like chocolate milk.
holy shit, this smells really good.
I don't love it when there's overdone adjuncts in beers. With peanut butter, I will make an exception. The more peanut butter, generally, the more I like it.
That is fantastic.
This is a really good beer.
Really
That's
solid.
one of my
shit.
favorite peanut butter milk stoves I've ever had.
I swear to God,
man,
that is special.
And
Wow.
we're back, everybody. There is another little area off where you see a soldier standing by himself on this little like island of like a bridge that broke, and he's just standing there looking around, really confused. And you wonder, how do I get over there? You do a Gilbert Grape, and you actually need to go to the 4 belfries west of Liurnia, and one of the belfries sends you here. And I remember first time I did it thinking, fuck yes, I'm going to go to Mogwin Palace. Nope, you just on this little island spot. And you can get a talisman over there. Otherwise, you just kill the dude and nope, out of there. That's kind of just the whole point of that spot.
Yep.
Kind of doing him a favor, though. Also, if the portal's right there, like, why didn't he just...
You're not doing him a favor. Nothing can die in Elden Ring. He's doomed to just, like, be there again.
That's all he's going to ever be.
This is a fucking horror game. Like, everything is... Like, the reason things are emaciated and, like, losing their minds is because people have been trying to die for so long.
Well, maybe you did him a favor by breaking the monotony of him just standing on the little bridge, wondering what's going on.
He's like, this was great, dude.
Yeah,
How did that guy disappear? He just fast traveled somewhere? What's that? But then you do get to go to the Hollowhorn grounds finally. My first time fighting this ancestor spirit, I beat it, which was very odd for what I thought was one of the most striking bosses I had seen.
The deer leaping through the air.
It looks fantastic, but
It's great. It reminds me of the other Miyazaki.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something out of Princess Mononoke.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the music is great. The sound effects like that it makes are wonderful.
It's a pretty easy boss fight, though. I just did it last night. I beat it on my first try, but granted, I'm like a seasoned vet at this point. And I had beaten it once already, but its moves are pretty well telegraphed, and it only has like 3 or 4 different moves it goes to.
And really, it just feels sad.
Yeah, it's very hollow, kind of vacant in there. Except for my little demi-human guys that I summon that are just like chirping and getting their shit rocked.
Kill it now!
I don't know. It's just a sad old spirit of nature, the ancestral spirit, and you're just sending goblins at it.
Yeah. Like, go get them, boys.
And yeah, it doesn't feel like it was meant to be a big challenge, but you do fight an ancestral spirit later on, another one when you go up to Nokron, and that one has different attacks that was discovered not a couple months ago, but there are other animals in the playfield, like a goat or a deer or different animals. And then when the spirit disappears, it'll like take the goat and you'll see it in the distance. If you're not close enough, you don't see it, but the goat gets lifted up like possessed and disappears, and the spirit pops out of it, and then it does a goat move. So then it does the ancestral spirit does the roll. So it takes the moves of the different animals it's possessing and taking over.
Damn, that's cool.
That's cool. That's the other ancestral spirit. And I think there's a lot more going on in the boss battles than some people realize, or even there's, I'm sure, tons of things we know. I know with Astel the Natural Born, there is an attack that is extremely rare where like 20 other natural born fall beasts just appear, and there's like this ritual that happens while you get picked up in the air. Very rare. It's cool when those things happen, though.
Wow.
And then if you get past a bunch of snipers, there is a way gate that sends you up higher,
Which you need a keystone for.
not this one. This one is just gets you up elevated almost to Nokron, but still not up there.
No, yeah, okay.
You'll fight a few claymen. You can get the other claymen sorcery, the Great Oracular Bubble, which is just a bigger bubble. And mostly why you go up here, though, is there is a boss fight. You fight the Dragonkin Soldier. We're going to fight another one later, so we'll talk about that there. But the other end of the Siofra River, throw some keystones in. You're going to go up, and this is how you get to that Colosseum with the big old jar boy in Caelid.
Yep.
And that's the other end there, and that's kind of the end game of the Siofra River.
Yeah.
And we're going to head over to the Ainsel River now, the other underground river. This is in Liurnia. Similar. You'll go to like one of those circular buildings, and you take a really long fucking elevator.
Yep. At this point, when I found this building, I kind of figured what it was. I was so psyched. I was ready because at this point I had already gone and done everything over there. I had beaten Godric, and like now I'm getting used to the game. So when I saw another giant elevator room, I'm like, "Fucking let's go,
Let's go, dude!"
With a giant protecting it.
I ran around him.
Yeah, sort of.
I was like,
As you do.
I ain't got time for you, bud.
Yes. And whenever there is a big enemy guarding to what looks like the start of a new dungeon, I run past them, grab the Sight of Grace, and then I just back attack them. I'll spawn behind you until I get you.
You know, cheesing is a legitimate strategy. Anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't understand.
If you want to put arbitrary rules on your gameplay, you can do that.
And they shouldn't have made it possible.
Right. Like, I mean, if people want to say, like, you can't summon, I'm like, then don't summon, but I'm going to summon.
If
I
there's
have done it in particularly hard boss fights. I have beaten Mogwin on my own.
I wasn't summoned.
Which I found to be very difficult.
For Radon, I didn't know you could summon in other enemies, and I didn't know how to summon things myself. So I fought Radon all by myself. And that was before they nerfed the nerf. That was before the nerf, and that sucked.
Yeah. They rebuffed him again.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like bell summoning or summoning
the gold
summons?
Any of them. I didn't know any of them.
The signs that you meet throughout the entire battlefield.
I feel like it's better to play these games offline just because then I notice every gold summoning sign before a boss room instead of it's telling somebody to put my finger in my butthole instead of just a guy that I can summon to help me fight.
True.
But so you go down this other elevator and I don't know, it's a little less of a stunning thing you come up to. It's just like a trickling river. And you don't see the first enemies you're going to run into because they're hanging up on the ceiling.
Ready to
I saw him right away.
Oh, you saw him. You're maybe more tuned into Souls games, though.
I always look up in places. It's just like, there's someone here. Okay. It's too quiet.
And I know you told me before, because I said, I always like to put on my little torch, my little hip torch that I wear. And you're like, I don't even need a torch. I just click my thumbstick and I'll see if enemies are in there. So now whenever I go in anywhere, I'm just clicking my thumbstick, looking around.
That's all you have to do in Souls
locking
games.
on to something.
It'll auto do it in the dark. So
I Leroy Jenkins my way right in there and then got dropped on and murdered.
By all the ants at the end of the tunnel too?
Yeah, because then I tried to run away and I was like, oh no, this is the ants. I don't want to fight them.
Like out of the frying pan into the fire a little bit.
Yeah.
They also spit acid that does a ton of damage.
The ants are awesome. I love them.
They're cool. They're really scary, actually.
One of the cool things about them is I even saw an article posted. It was the ants in Elden Ring are incredibly accurate.
Yep.
Like they just look and function like real ants.
Yep.
And that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't need to church them up. They're terrifying the way they are.
Nah.
Just make them bigger.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's kind of scared at ants, if not for the fact that some of them bite you and do some horrible stuff.
Yeah.
But also because they make everything dirty and gross.
Yeah, and if you're not afraid of ants, look up one of those like microscopic lens photos of an ant's face.
There's a new one.
Nightmare fuel.
As of like a month ago or 3 weeks ago, there was a brand new, like the most high definition close up picture of an ant. And it was 10 times more scary than you think it would be.
From Software definitely saw that photo and was like, that's a nice enemy.
We want some more ants in there.
It works.
And there are a few different kinds of ants, different subtypes. The worker ant is the one you're going to generally see. The soldier ant, slightly bigger. There is the winged ant, which flies. The shield-headed ant with the very hard head. You can actually get that shield. Mm-hmm. And the bloated ant, which always has a shitload of runes. And
I thought that was the queen.
The queen ant. They call it the bloated ant. Interesting thing about these giant fucking ants. Later on, when you do get to the hidden cities, the ancient cities, they can be ridden by the Nox.
Yeah.
You will see that they have been
awful.
They've been down there long enough that they've learned how to ride these things.
It's just such a pain in the gourd when they can scurry that fast towards you
and fly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't it? I've read somewhere that it's a precarious relationship between them, though. It's not like man and horse. Like the ants are like tolerant, but at the same time, they will fuck them up.
If you're able to knock the Nox off of the ant immediately turns and starts attacking the Nox.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Which makes you want to liberate all the ants and then kill them afterwards.
Liberate them, then kill them.
Yeah. And
like what we did to Iraq.
Very weak to fire. So use some fire on them.
Yeah, I use a lot
of fire. Crackpots, baby.
And yeah, the bloated ants can drop Newman's runes, which means they've been eating some of the Newman, which is the most ancient race you can play as. And also they're worth a lot of fucking runes. So if you see a bloated ant, kill it and run away. I forget. It's like I think it's number 10 or something. It's like it's one of the biggest numbers of runes.
It's not a heroes or a...
Which I do like that you can just carry around extra runes. If you're like 2,000 away from a level up and you don't want to run it anywhere, you can just pop a rune real quick.
I do like that too. I mean, that's how it's always been.
I always spend those at the round table hold to like upgrade my weapons because I'll level up my runes every time I can. And then so I'm not carrying around a lot of runes when I get to the round table hold because I level up right away. And then, all right, I'm gonna spend 12 or 14 of these 200s.
It depends on if you have a goal. Like if you have like a higher level piece of equipment, you're gonna want to like conserve. And conservation is very hard in these games. So keeping these runes off to the side is very good at being like, I need 42 intelligence to wield this properly. Well, just save it for that.
And if you didn't know, you can also sell those runes instead of using them for the same amount that they give you. So you don't feel like you have to go into your menu and use them all, even with select number. You can just sell them, and they're worth the same amount.
And that select number is new since the last time I played. Like that was introduced in a patch somewhere because I remember sitting there and I would hotkey them so I could just like.
I used to do that too before you could use select a number.
Yeah, but now I can use select 42 200 runes and just get after it.
So if you survive past 20 ants, 30 ants, all of the ambushes, you'll wind up in the Ool Palace ruins. The Ool and later the Ould Palace ruins share a much more Greco-Roman architecture compared to the Nox, so it seems like this is a separate civilization down here than the Nox, because you can just tell architecture, like this was then, this was then. It seems like these might be the Alabaster Lords that were worshipped possibly by the Claymen. It's a lot of this conjecture. There is evidence of other civilizations, and I desperately want to piece things together. But also, I don't know, From Software puts a mystery, and they don't want to spell things out, which is cool, too. Mm-hmm. One of the strengths of the game, I think, is that they don't say, this is that.
No, but you'll pick up a dagger at level 85, and then it'll tell you the whole story.
Because I will say, yesterday, I was playing 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, and everything was very spelled out what was happening. Tony Ayo says, lay down, He says, hey, 50, break some of these crates and find out what's inside.
There's some good shit in there.
All right, I guess I will.
50 Cent goes into a strip club in Iraq, and he says, where's your boss, bitch? And I'm like, I know all the lore of what's happening here. It's very spelled out. Yeah. There's no ambiguity about who the Claymen are. 50 Cent is there in Iraq to find the crystal skull that was stolen from him at his concert. If you didn't know, that's the plot of the game. He was gifted a crystal. Yeah. I played it for an hour last night. It was great.
I didn't. I've never played it.
It's actually okay.
It's made by the guys who did.
It's a nice shoot 'em up.
Is it? Because it seems.
By who?
That's the first thing I said.
It's made by the guys who did Gears of War.
That's the first thing I said.
No shit.
I said it was 50 Cent Gears of War.
It was made before Gears of War, yeah.
By that Trent guy who invented the Lancer chainsaw?
Something Blazinski. Cliff Blazinski.
Cliff, that's it.
Can I actually look this up? I don't want to sound. I don't want to be saying false.
Gears of War is so good.
It's been stagnant. I don't know if there's been like big developments. The first one I remember loving, and the second one I remember thinking it was quite blasé. I mean, it's just the first one again, which is not exciting.
I beat all of them when I had COVID the first time.
We're going to take one more second here to let Dylan explain to us what he's looking up.
We're looking up 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. It's third person. It's developed by Swordfish Studios and published by THQ. Swordfish Studios is known for...
You just got to find Cliffy B's name.
Cliff Blazinski. Cliffy B.
No, I hate to say it, but I think I was wrong.
There's a lot about 50 Cent Blood on the Sand we don't understand yet. Like,
yeah, I mean,
who wrote the dialogue and why?
I think the biggest miss in those games, there's no Eminem. Where the fuck is Marshall Mathers?
And he's not even on the G Unit posters, and I found a bunch of them in the game, which is one of the hidden collectibles.
Well, he would be on the D12 posters if you found any of those, but 50 wouldn't be having D.
You have to just put me on blast on the podcast right now. You're going to do that right now? All right. So yes, the Ool Palace ruins. There's also like these just big two statues. One of them has fallen down of these like, they almost look like those guys in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, with when you go to
the gates of Argonath, Amun-Ra, whatever they want to call it.
The Forever Land.
The Forever Land. It's a giant, beautiful statue of a tall, skinny man with a huge flowing beard clutching a tablet. Once you get inside the next room, though, you see a giant... This is my first time seeing the giant hanging monster, which has the aesthetic of a falling star beast or Estelle the Natural Born. This is like a pupil larval form, like a Kakuna. If to put it in Pokemon, which I understand more than anything. It's a Kakuna of...
Sure.
of the Estelle Butterfree.
Be larval stage then. Larval is different than a cocoon.
Well, this is kind of like a cocoon, is what I meant to say.
He's hanging around and he's doing stuff. Cocoons are like solid.
But he's in a hanging state, upside down.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. It's a malformed star, strange insectoid creature with debris comprising their bodies and human skulls for heads, and shoots rocks. This guy was a major nuisance to me the first time down here. Major nuisance to everyone. Once you kind of know how to get up to him and spam it,
can't bother you.
Unless you're playing, as I was, a big dumb idiot with a sword who didn't, or twin blade at the time, but I had no range. I didn't know what I didn't have any ways to do any attacks because
that's still the main flaw of this game is that they're not really offering you a ton of ways to defeat challenges. They're like, oh, you must also do this.
I think that's wrong. I think that there's a billion ways to do this. There are roped pots. There are throwing daggers. There are poison daggers. There are bow and arrows. Like there are ways to do range attacks.
But they're also HP sponges.
Well, that's why you poison them or you get them with Scarlet Rot
which is what I do. I'm the Scarlet Rot boy.
Yeah.
That's all I care about in these games now.
Don't show up today covered in blood just so everyone knows.
Yeah. I said, oh, sorry, did it get it on your hardwood?
You guys want to try my belching beaver?
It's like, I got this from the store. Did you kill the store owner? No.
If you get behind the malformed star, there's a merchant, and he goes, I haven't seen a customer here in a while.
Gee, I wonder why.
These guys are bad at business.
Yeah. Yeah, they would fail on Shark Tank.
So I'm going to set this up behind an astral entity, kind of H.P. Lovecraft type.
I am going to have one copy of one book, 2 vague hints about enemies, and then, I don't know, a set of armor I found. Like, straight up, I'm going to pass on this.
Is it going to be good armor? Nah, it's beginner shit.
This is the beginning armor, but for a character you probably didn't choose.
One of the things I observed about the lore early on was the fact that these merchants have... that they have all the sets, the starting sets, mean that they actually found the dead bodies of other people who were in the same shoes as you.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's what that means because they're all the starting sets from all the merchants.
Yeah.
So when they say they haven't seen anyone in a while, it's because they killed their last customer that came through.
Or they found the corpse.
Probably more likely. Because those are peaceful merchants that were wrongfully treated by the Golden Order and accused of heresy, which they did commit heresy. It's like after you call someone something long enough, they're like, all right, I will be a witch.
So one of the cool things...
I showed you where the merchants are.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
One of the cool things in Dark Souls is you go down this like back alley. It's kind of like this... It's optional. And you go to it, and you also you find a corpse with a pickup item on it, and you pick it up, and it says Twin Souls. But if you look at the sprite or the model, it looks like she was pregnant.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh shit!
Like that's the kind of detail you're actually aiming for in all this.
We have another beer here. This is a gift from Ryan, JK. And
oh, yeah. Okay. Another owl.
Another Blue Owl Brewing. This is a sour beer. This is called Professor Black. It's a sour cherry stout with Montmorency cherries and milk sugar, 6.1% out of Austin, Texas. You don't see a lot of sour stouts.
Yeah. It smells really good.
So cheers to Ryan. And also, congrats on your Astros. I don't know if they cheated this year, but they won.
They won the World Series?
Yeah. They beat the World Cup.
Nice.
Big cherry cherry on the nose. I guess I forget it's a sour. There is a good tartness to it.
This is actually really good.
Yeah, that's super solid.
I don't think they've missed yet.
No, they have not.
Which would explain how they're still around being a sour-only brewery, because that is a tough sell. That is delicious.
Sour stout. That's the first time I've had a sour stout.
I think it might be. No, it can't be.
It's not mine. I know that, but
Definitely mine.
Josh definitely had to introduce us to him, but
this is a Ninja Turtle flavored sour stout, yo.
well, that's Chaz.
Chet.
Oh, it's Chet. Okay, sorry.
Hopefully, Chet shows up in a couple weeks.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, you can get the prisoner set from this hermit merchant, as well as the recipe for acid spray mist for the perfumer bottles. For this, they filled their mouth with acid and spit it at an enemy to lower their attack power.
Their teeth must be rotted out.
Their breath is very bad. Yeah. Yeah, they've been drinking belching beaver. So you go past this little area, and there's a hidden hallway. And this could potentially be the first time you run into basilisks in Elden Ring. And I am not a Souls person.
Basilisks are in Dark Souls 1.
And basilisks are famous for being one of the most terrifying enemies.
They're curse heavy. So in Dark Souls 1, what they can do is they can apply curse to you, which transforms you to stone, which permanently, until you can break the curse, I think it takes away 25% of your HP. Just
It's gone.
at the start. Yeah.
And yeah, if you succumb to the death blight in Elden Ring, instant death.
Yeah. I mean, the death blight's one.
You get the whoosh, like all those. It's almost like the modeling effect that happens to the Stormvale Castle. That's just all of a sudden a bunch of like roots shoot out of you, and it sucks because the basilisks themselves aren't very hard. They're these little scurrying fuckers.
They skitter, and then they have a large cloud that follows you.
But back up as far as you can if you see them shooting that shit. And if you have range stuff, go for it. Otherwise, just pray you're lucky because it builds up fast and it destroys you quick.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this little hallway the first time I came through here. This also gives you a good look at the Lake of Rot for the first time. You can see the Lake of Rot from this river.
I have
which was
seen it, yeah.
incredibly intimidating.
It's terrifying. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's all red down there.
Yeah,
I hate the Lake of Rot.
You got red on you.
I think the Lake of Rot is one of the most poorly designed areas I've ever seen in a video game. And it's just...
You know what? I read today, I haven't done any New Game Plus. At least, maybe it was pre-patched, but I think it's still in there. New Game Plus, like the lakes and the lava, don't slow you down in New Game Plus.
What?
You can, you just like regular speed.
Okay. Well, that's like part of the reason, but it's also like it's almost like they're creating puzzles without actual solutions. Like you have to go through here. You have to eventually get through the Lake of Rot. You don't really have a choice, do you?
It's optional. The whole area is optional. But if you want to complete Ronnie's quest, it is not optional.
But it's also like I was lucky because I was doing a faith build, so I could constantly cleanse myself.
Yep.
Is that where you just burn yourself?
Yeah.
It's like putting a lighter
Flames
to your
cleanse
skin.
myself, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just also was like, I don't know. This is obtuse.
Yeah, it was frustrating because they give you those tiny little platforms with those things to fight, and they have Death Blight, and you're surrounded by Scarlet Rot.
Those are the basilisks, yeah.
And it's like, so I can't jump out of the way. I either have to succumb to Scarlet Rot or I die instantly. Mm-hmm. But lucky for me, I had the medallion from the castle that protects against death.
Death Blight.
Yeah, that little guy.
I mean, we're not even on the Lake of Rot episode.
That episode will just be us cursing for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Just going, fuck.
Fucking hate this.
This is stupid.
Why is there a boss out here? I mean,
why is there a boss at the end of it?
While we briefly mentioned the Lake of Rot, there is one ancestral follower down in the Lake of Rot who must have gotten very lost, and he is just hanging out down there. There's only one in the middle, and I feel so bad for my homie out there. He was trying to go to a rave. He's trying to go to the Grateful Dead show to find some buds, and he just took a wrong turn. He's at a metal show, and everyone's very mean down here, man.
I'm surprised there's not a merchant down there bitching about how they don't have any customers.
Not a lot of customers down here.
And he's just like drinking it. Like he's like,
Maybe because you're surrounded by literal death.
Yeah, God.
This is my pet basilisk, Ted. I don't like Ted. Oh, that's your pit bull named Ted. Okay, I'm not going to come close to that guy. So if you get past all your basilisks, all your ants. Eventually, you get to a stunning big room, a big open room. And this room was, I think, maybe the first time I really started using the photograph button on the PlayStation 5 controller, like the share media button, because it's a button I don't think to use often, but screenshot. I started taking a lot of screenshots in Elden Ring, and I think this might have been the first time I'm like, I should use that, because you come in that room and there is just a giant skeleton. Like, nope, not trying to like say anything other than it's a giant. It's a skeleton of a giant sitting there. Yeah. And what a scary, stunning thing to walk into.
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen when you walked in that room?
I thought I was going to fight a giant skeleton.
You'd think so, right?
I was like, this motherfucker's going to wake up and just push my shit in real quick. This is going to be real bad.
I don't even remember doing this.
This was probably my favorite part of my first playthrough and my favorite boss battle that I did.
Okay, what boss is it?
Well, this is, you don't fight a giant there. You fight a dragonkin soldier of Noxtella here. But the arena.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. No. It's like a gorgeous like person on like a throne.
Yep.
And it's tall, and then there's like a space between her legs where you can get the item underneath. Yeah, yep. I've been there.
It is a gorgeous arena for a boss fight, and the boss fight is.
There's a reason they use that key art in the loading screens. It's just so evocative.
Which also, I do have issues with that. I don't want to be spoiled images before I get to anywhere. I don't know if they wait until afterwards, because maybe I've just noticed that is a loading screen after I've seen it. But
yeah,
they should do the Skyrim thing where they just give you models to loop around and kind of take a look at.
Yeah. Here's a cup.
Here's a
for
card.
35 minutes while we load Riften.
Ooh. There's a lot of NPCs in Riften. We gotta go slow here, guys.
I played the PS3 version. I know loading times.
Yeah, but I mean, coming into this room and just seeing the skeleton just like sitting in the throne of a giant, it just made me think I had a lot of questions about what was going on down here. And again, you can look up and there's a bunch of buildings up there and there's no way to get up there. I looked around for a long time.
I was also very pissed that there wasn't like a jumping puzzle to go down the waterfall.
To get down in there? Or like over to the giant.
Well, that made me angry because I'm like, in a lot of other Souls games, they're like, oh no, don't go down that hole. And you're just like, yeah, well, there's probably a platform I can land on somewhere. And I was constantly in the phase of, what is the jump radius I can do in this video game? Because this is the most finicky of them I've ever experienced. It's like either like in Dark Souls, you die very quick from falling, or with Elden Ring, it's like I could make a large jump sometimes, but sometimes it's like 5 feet off the ground and I'm dead.
And sometimes in Bloodborne, there's no jump button, and you have to clear a 2-foot gap, and you hope your roll hits at the right spot.
Yes, you do.
I'm excited and worried about going back to Bloodborne, but no. And you would think waterfall, there's a jump, there's something down there.
You would think, well, because there's so many times other in the game where you can go down a waterfall, and a waterfall has something to do with what you're supposed to do next.
Yeah, there's a place in the Weeping Peninsula where you have to jump off a waterfall.
Yep.
And there's like one little platform you can land on.
Yeah.
And if you shine your torch, you can see it. Otherwise, if you miss that platform, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of just like, well, all right, I guess you wanted me to die. It's all right.
But you entered this room, and a dragonkin soldier shows up. This one is the dragonkin soldier of Noxtella. There was a dragonkin soldier as well in the Siofra River. Up there, you can use your horse for that battle, so it makes it a little more a little easier.
You can use your horse?
In the Siofra River, not in the Ainsel River.
Oh, okay.
This one you can't, which definitely restricts you a little bit. The dragonkin are created creatures, kind of like the Albinaurics. The dragonkin lore, they were created by the Nox, and they were trapped down here. They were trying to find ways to wage war, trying to create their own Elden Lords. I think possibly that's what the giants were for. They were trying to do something.
Now, are these what the magma worms are?
No, the magma worms are regular humans who tried to become dragons by eating dragon hearts and just praying really hard. The dragonkin are, maybe it was their attempt at making their own dragons. They can't use real lightning because there's no real clouds underground. So they use frost lightning, which is fucking cool. Lightning that causes frost damage. But they also really can't walk around or fly for long periods of time because their legs are useless, kind of like the Albinoryx. I guess their science just isn't good at that yet. But
Kind of like Tyler after eating a lot of McDonald's.
he just crawls around everywhere. He's like a basilisk,
Just barrel roll.
just spitting nugget sauce at us.
So guys, I can't go to the doctor's appointment. You gotta carry me. Too much
sweet and sour.
But you look happy. And that's all that matters.
I'm full of bliss. And empty calories.
Yeah. This was probably this is my first Dragonkin. I like this battle. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I think the frost lightning is really interesting. I didn't have trouble with this boss whatsoever the first time I faced him. He must have reminded me of something. I don't know. Can't even make a comparison, but I found him to be pretty freaking cool. And don't you get a spell from him?
You get the incantation Frozen Lightning Spear.
Yep. Okay. Yep. That's something I actually used, but it's good for waves of enemies and not really facing off in single battle.
Yeah. It's fun doing different builds too because my first time through I didn't use any spells.
I use so many.
And once you do use them, you are addicted.
Yeah.
And I just know that Loretta's Great Bow is just going to be something I use all the time now because I don't need to make arrows or buy arrows.
Get that Dragon Communion spewing that fucking gunk.
The gunk.
Everywhere.
After you beat this Dragonkin soldier, underneath the big giant corpse, you can find a great ghost glovewort, which is a tough thing to say. But the glovewort is how you power up your spirits, and the ghost glovewort is how you power up your very special, like rarer spirits.
Yep.
And this is one of 4 of those great ghost gloveworts in the game. So if you want to power up your Mimic Tear to 10, this is one of 4 opportunities.
And I immediately did it.
My witch character, Carly, will not use the Mimic Tear because she's afraid doppelgangers are kind of a scary thing. They might just try and steal your personality. Like they might
You guys
steal
are
you.
actually role-playing this. I'm so impressed, actually.
Mostly
Like,
I was looking for an excuse not to use it for her.
okay, that's fine. But still, you thought of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it still applies.
Originally, there's a cut content where there would be a silver husk, like a mimic husk, that you would talk with and do quests with. And it actually had a personality, which kind of makes those like big amorphous blobs a little more intimidating. When one of them asks, "Can I be your friend? I just want to sit next to you when you're on the throne." And it's like,
Wow.
I'm like,
Hell
I'm
yeah,
Brad. Nice to meet you.
My name's Dylan.
Do I just
You're not Mercury,
do I just
are you?
jiggle you to shake your hand? I don't know what's going on.
I'm going to pat you on what I think's your head.
You're not going to make me insane, are you?
Gosh, it's like the DLC in Bloodborne when you're in that like clinic and well, you have
The
to
big
like
hospital, yeah.
that like the big head thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's all bandaged up.
Yeah.
You have to kill it like 3 times for the quest or something.
Yeah.
I try to avoid killing NPCs, but
No.
yeah, and that's our brief discussion on the underground rivers. We will, of course, talk about the ancient cities when we talk about Ronnie's quest later on. We're going to save that discussion for near the end of Elden Dogs when we talk about endgame stuff because Ronnie's stuff is
It
an
spans
endgame quest.
It spawns it's with you the entire time. So it's really hard to go into these specific things and be like, oh, you know, we'll just explain this and maybe you don't know. If you're listening to this blind, I would love for you to contact us.
I think at least a few people on our Discord is
Really?
just because they love us so much and we love you guys too.
I would love to hear what your actual thoughts on what we're saying are. Are you just imagining this? Are you looking up pictures?
Some people
Please
don't
tell
like
us anything about it.
Some people don't like Elden Ring, and I don't get it. But if they're listening, just because, I mean, there is an interesting world and interesting discussions to be had around it.
I can understand not liking this type of game. I just don't understand not understanding that, or I don't, but the one thing I don't understand is that I don't understand not wanting to be a part of it at all.
Yeah. Well, and it's just exciting how many people are playing Elden Ring Whereas, I mean, Dark Souls scared the shit out of people. And I think Bloodborne, being a PlayStation exclusive, made people more obligated to give it a try. And it got more people in, but Elden Ring being the juggernaut that it is, and I think being a little more catering to gamers in general, like not hardcore gamers, has brought a lot of people into that world. And there's going to be a lot of people that get it, that go in now to play Dark Souls, and nobody will beat Sekiro. And that's okay.
I ordered it off of Amazon just yesterday.
Sekiro?
I was playing it on my PC, which no longer notoriously works, so I can't go back to my save file. But also, I'm going to have to start over. I'm on the last boss. And goddamn it.
Goddamn.
I have it.
Parry.
Never played it.
Learn how to parry.
And you got Dark Souls.
I got Dark Souls Remastered, and I have Bloodborne.
How did you earn Dark Souls Remastered last night?
I wasted an hour of my life playing Bubsy. Return of the Woolies.
Yes. So we went to Extra Life, which was a fundraising event put on by the EXP cast and our good friend Stoy, who's been on the Dogcast. They had a thing called the What Bucket, and you had to draw a horrible game that you had to play for at least an hour before you could choose a prize.
Objectively horrible, because
all of them were horrible except the one that I got, I believe.
Brad drew right before me and got 50 Cent Blood in the Sand, and I was like, this can't be that bad.
That's actually worth money.
And I was pumped. And then there are people like playing Night Trap and Bubsy. The guy playing Night Trap was so miserable.
Yeah.
I can't stop him. And I was like, go back to
Were you all streaming the entire time?
No streaming.
Stoy did a little vlogging.
Yeah, but it wasn't like streaming the gameplay or anything.
The 5-person Smash Bros was fun to watch.
Smash Bros.
I'm terrible at Smash Bros, but I love watching it. Could not play it to save my life. But
I'm okay.
Really
there was also a child
people.
that's like, oh, let's play the Sonic stage. He's like, and his dad's like, no surprise there, huh, kid? Everything's Sonic all the time.
God.
Coming up next for Elden Dogs, we'll return November 23rd as we journey up to the Altus Plateau. And I feel like it's just moving on to another big section of the game going up there. And next week for Hair the Dogcast, we have a previously Patreon-only exclusive episode, PSVR Part 2, where we're going over the our experiences with the PlayStation VR ahead of the upcoming release. And the reason we're doing that is because we will be recording a very special Final Fantasy IX double-parter. And tentatively, a good friend of ours, Spike Vegeta, will be joining us.
So I'm going to have to play through it. Shoot.
You have a couple weeks still.
I'll be all right. I'll do it. I know it like the back of my hand.
And yeah, so Elden Dogs, we exist because of people like you. So thanks for listening. If you have questions or thoughts about anything coming up or anything we've said, reach out to us on Twitter at HairTheDogcast, at HotDogcast, I should say, and email us at hairthedogcast@gmail.com. And if you want access to these episodes early, as well as bonus podcasts, bonus episodes, everything early, a lot of good stuff. Access to our Discord. Join us on patreon.com/HairTheDogcast. Thanks to executive producers Ryan Christianick, Tyler Keller, Kip, and Brian Ward. We're part of the HyperX Podcast Network. For more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com. And that's all we got. It's good to do Elden Dogs again. I've been thinking about this for a while.
Also, my offer still stands. If you are an executive producer and you want to join on that level, I will mail you a personally drawn thing by me. It might not be super complicated, but
I'm gonna up my own pledge.
Whatever you want. I will literally. I'm even going to expand it. It can be whatever you want. It doesn't even have to be video game related. I will just draw whatever you want. It's fine. Just let's do it.
I just want a cool looking Geralt. Geralt of Rivia.
There you go.
I'll draw you Geralt.
Dude, just it's a portrait of Liam's Hemsworth.
They're literally gonna
yeah, but
it's literally gonna be a 4x5 like drawing. But I'll still make a good one, you know.
But he has to be Liam Hemsworth.
And it says Hunger Games in the background.
Yeah. No, please God, no, I'd burn that.
This has been Elden Dogs, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a shrewd shopper, it's about to be your favorite time of the year. HyperX will be running massive sales for the holiday season. Get up to 50% off some of our most popular products like the ultra comfy Cloud 2 headset, the tough, responsive Alloy Origins mechanical keyboard, and the fan favorite Quadcast USB microphone. Sales will be going on at all major e-tailers, but be sure to head to HyperX.com and sign up for the newsletter to get the scoop on the biggest deals. Happy holidays from HyperX.